Most high-achieving leaders have no idea that the thing making them successful is the same thing making them exhausted. There was a season in my career where 3 of the 5 people on our coaching team left within weeks of one another, and I sprung into action. I picked up every piece they left behind. I worked longer, delivered more, and attempted to make myself completely indispensable. And when it came time to promote a new leader, it went to someone else. And I didn't even get angry. I didn't slow down or miss a beat. I worked harder, and it took me years to understand why. But what I finally understood changed everything about the way I lead and the way I coach leaders today. See, here's what I know now that I didn't know then. I wasn't working harder because the work required it. I was working harder because somewhere underneath all of it, I believed that my value was in my usefulness, that if I wasn't indispensable, I wasn't worthy, and that if I stopped being needed, I wouldn't matter. That belief wasn't a conscious choice. It was a pattern, one I had been living for so long that I had completely mistaken it for work ethic, for commitment, for leadership. It wasn't any of those things. And when I started coaching leaders, sitting across from them in their hardest, most vulnerable moments, I saw the same pattern everywhere. The executive who stays late because leaving early feels irresponsible. The manager who does her team's work because trusting them feels too risky. Or like me, the one who is first to volunteer and the last to ask for help. And then there's the leader, well, most really, who quietly asks themselves why. Why, after everything they've given, none of it ever feels like enough. Sound familiar? There's a name for what I'm describing. It's overfunctioning. And here's what makes it so difficult to see. From the outside, it looks identical to great leadership. The commitment, the reliability, the willingness to carry more than your share. And it gets praised, rewarded, and mistaken by you and everyone watching for dedication. But there's a difference between leadership and overfunctioning that most people never learn to see. Leadership develops the people around you. Overfunctioning makes them dependent on you. Leadership builds something that outlasts you. Overfunctioning builds something that collapses without you. The reason most high-achieving leaders never question it is because nobody ever asks them to. This pattern didn't develop because something is wrong with you. It developed because at some point, it worked. Most of the leaders I coach didn't consciously decide to manage everything. The pattern grew unknowingly in the moments when they first discovered that being useful meant being valued. So they adapted. They became the person everyone could count on and the one who never dropped anything, the one who made everything look effortless. Until the effortless started costing everything. Now, this is not a character flaw. This is not a weakness. This is a learned pattern, learned early and reinforced often, and so deeply embedded that most leaders don't even know they're living in it. So what does it actually cost? It costs you your energy, not the kind that a good night's sleep fixes, the deeper kind, the kind that comes from spending years performing capability when what you actually needed was rest. It costs the people around you every time you step in before they have a chance to step up. See, you are quietly sending a message. I don't trust you to handle this. And they feel that even when they don't say it. And it costs your organization. Research from Gallup found that CEOs who excel at delegation actually generate 33% more revenue than those who don't. And studies show that a leader's exhaustion doesn't just stay with the leader. It moves directly through the team. So your burnout predicts theirs. And as if all of this wasn't costly enough, here's the cost that tends to hit leaders the hardest when they finally see it. It costs you the feeling that any of it is ever enough. Because when your worth is tied to your usefulness, there is no finish line. There is only more to prove, more to deliver, more to carry. And that persistent, low-grade feeling that something important is missing, even when everything on the outside looks fine, that's not burnout. That's the pattern telling you the truth. In over a decade of coaching leaders, the single most powerful pattern interrupt I've seen isn't a process or a system. It's a moment of honest self-awareness, followed by one deliberate choice. In my work with leaders, I use a 3-part framework called ACT: awareness, choice, transformation. You've just done the first part. You now have a name for the pattern. You know where it came from. You know what it's costing you. That's awareness. And awareness is where everything real starts. But awareness alone doesn't change anything. It just tells you the truth. The next step is choice. The next time you feel the pull to step in, take over, or carry something that isn't yours, pause. Pause just long enough to ask yourself, do I actually need to do this, or do I just believe I do? And then, what could I choose differently right now? Not tomorrow, not eventually, right now, in this moment. Because transformation, the third step, doesn't happen in big, dramatic decisions. It happens in the small moments where you catch the pattern, make a different choice, and prove to yourself that a new way of leading is possible. Before you close this video, I want to leave you with 3 questions. Not about your team, not about your organization, about you. What is overwhelming you right now? What on that list is actually yours to carry? And what would happen if you let someone else carry the rest? Sit with those honestly, because the gap between where you are and the leader you're capable of being, it doesn't close with more effort. It closes with more honesty. That's where real, authentic leadership begins. If any part of what I shared today felt uncomfortably familiar, you're not alone. These are the patterns I work with every single day. In executive suites, in small businesses, in one-on-one coaching conversations with leaders who are tired of performing and ready to lead differently. And that's what this channel is all about. Not leadership theory, not productivity hacks. Real conversations about what it actually takes to lead well, starting with the truth about what's been getting in the way. If you're ready for that conversation, subscribe, because this is the life you lead.